his house. It's in the middle of London. Each room is decorated like a different. They're themed on the tarot. Speaking of tarot cards,
Right.
so you've got the Sagittarius room.
Really?
Yeah. What's your sign, by the way? Since we were talking about.
Well, we're Geminis. Well, I'm a twin.
You're
so-
Gemini.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And so I'm a Cancer, which is right next to it.
Okay.
So somebody said, "Did you ever notice all your friends are like close in the spectrum?"
Is that how it is, really?
After they pointed that out, I was like, "God, the people that I." It's not to say that I don't have any friends that are, whatever, Capricorns or something, but
Yeah.
it just seems like you do hit it off like quicker with people that are close.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I tend to get along a lot with Cancers and Scorpios. And then lately I've been meeting a lot of Gemini women. How very strange.
Oh yeah, I went out with a Gemini woman. She was,
What was that like?
fantastic. Yeah, it was great. She was great.
Well, what was the best thing you liked about the Gemini girl?
I liked it that she was practical, but not too practical. Because I can be completely impractical.
Need a balance.
Yeah, she had more of a balance than I did, but she could reel me back in.
Wow.
She would go out and we had a really good time together. She would, this was back when I was drinking, so we could party like crazy and wake up and go, ugh. And she'd be like, "Oh, you still want to go to Six Flags over Georgia tonight?" And I'm like, "Are we going to do that?" She's like, "Come on, let's go. And I'm like, "I'll never do that for anybody else." Yeah, she's married to a member of Cheap Trick now.
What? Really? Since when?
Since like 20 years ago, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I might. Do they have kids?
Yeah.
Blonde?
I can. I don't know if I should mention her.
No. I think I might have met Robin Sanders.
Robin Zander, yeah.
And his wife. We were playing back around 90, 91.
This would have been after that.
Okay.
This was like late 90s, I guess, that they got married.
He came out. I said, "That's Robin Zander from Cheap Trick."
I know.
I used to love Cheap Trick.
Yeah, they're.
Well, tell me. Let me ask you a question. Since we're about kind of the same age, how hard was
32. I'm kidding.
Well, tell me, how hard was it for you, being the way that we are, like growing up in the South, or that type of
I got hassled a lot. It's only been in the last 10 or 15 years, which sounds like a long time to some people, but at some point you sort of go like, wow, 10 years just went by. That people would come up to me and say, "Ooh, I really like what you're wearing," and I'd be like, "Oh, that was a heartfelt, genuine compliment," rather than people that are like fucking with you because you're the way that you look. I mean, I just get it all the time, and I would get people, saying, "Hey, faggot," and all that kind of thing.
Oh, I've heard them all.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
I've heard them all.
What about you? Did you grow up around Raleigh?
Well, I grew up in Raleigh all my life, and then I haven't, like I said, I haven't really changed, and I got it all my life, faggot, white boy, that type of thing. And the thing about it is, you can't go one or the other because I got it on both sides.
Right.
If they weren't rednecks, they were ignorant people. They were my own people that just didn't understand.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and as I got older, I used to hold a lot of resentment to it. But as I got older, I said, well, they just didn't understand, and you kind of have to let it go.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when I really needed my friends in high school, I didn't really have it.
Yeah.
Hung out with kids like you in the smoking court.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, I think for probably you, I know how it worked for me was that I got to spend a lot of time developing myself. My folks split, and I moved to Rocky Mount, North Carolina, which was, I'd grown up in Greensboro, which was the way that it is. It's probably similar to Raleigh. But when I got to Rocky Mount, it was even, more of the hassles and stuff.
Oh,
I'm surprised I didn't get beat up. But I just would come home from school and run to my guitar and play guitar for hours. I mean, by the time I was 15, I was practicing guitar like maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. And I mean, who does that?
Were you in a band back then?
Led Zeppelin was my backup band. I put on a concert every night. By the time I moved back to Greensboro is when I did have a band there that we performed at some, like the the performance, whatever, the opportunities for performance were very limited in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And so, but when I moved back to Greensboro, I started bands.
What bands were they? What I've known in you?
No, I mean like junior high school. I had one called Mad Hatter.
Cool.
The Tea Party.
Love it.
Snidely Whiplash.
Love it.
What else did we had? The Blind Spots.
Even better.
Yeah, that band ended up not ever playing any gigs, which was perfect for them. Like we almost named it what it was.
Right.
We finally found a Deadbeat Orchestra, which was
Deadbeat Orchestra.
Yeah,
I like that.
We grew out of the Brothers Grimm that were in Winston-Salem, and actually Deadbeat Orchestra ended up getting chosen to be in the New Music Seminar in New York City. Did you play that?
Of course, thousands of times. Yeah.
We played the same night that Nirvana played, and they'd already like sold like millions of copies of Nevermind, and so everybody was there to see that. And I'm like, well, why are you going to see them? You're supposed to find the next big thing, which is us. But we did get to play at the Limelight with Karen, the Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black. Did you ever see them?
Because I was living there at that time.
Oh wow.
Actually, no, we moved to New York in like say 1991.
Wow.
So Limelight is where I saw A.R. Kane.
Oh wow!
And then we played.
What year was that?
My son was born, I think 80, 93, 94. No, 92.
92.
I think it was 92.
Yeah.
And we played there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean New York was never the same after 9/11. It got the wind knocked out of it, and then it all got taken by yuppies and like.
Right. It's so much different now.
I mean, it looks like Abercrombie and Fitch.
Oh right.
Walking on the street, it's a guy in khakis and whatever. And a lot of my friends
I have one of their coats. Yeah.
Now,
but I put patches on it, so
it
looks like John Lennon's.
Some of the cuts are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta give them that.
Yeah, I have a military coat that it actually has pockets in it, and you can't even tell. And I was like, that's pretty clever that you can wear this and either use the pockets or not, but it doesn't look bulky. But I ended up getting the exact patches that John Lennon had on his
military jacket.
Coat. Yeah, so I have that.
They're doing that period.
Yeah, where he's going, whatever, come together right now over me. He does that with the blue.
I remember that. And I was thinking, would he do that with if the Beatles were together? Would he be taken seriously? Like, okay, let me ask you this question.
Something.
Have you ever noticed? If you ever looked at the Veldt on your own, Lou Reed later on in life, he never sang the song the way it is on the record.
I know. I've mentioned that.
Did that ever bother you? Not that we need to tell him what to do.
No. God forbid, nobody's going to tell Lou Reed what to do.
Sunday morning.
But
early dawning.
He doesn't even play the same chords.
No.
He'll just get up there and he'll do Perfect Day. He'll never hit the same chords. Different melody. The words will be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I've always wondered why he did that.
Because he can't remember them.
I gotta tell you a good Lou Reed story. Okay, I was working at a clothing store in the meatpacking district. No pun intended. Well, kind of a pun because that's what it was.
Well, that's why it was called that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So I was at DDC Lab, and I walked into this cafe to get a cup of coffee, and I see these people sitting in the back, and it's Nancy Jeffries, who used to work at Electric Records, and Lou Reed.
Oh, wow.
So I walk up and I say, "Hey, Nancy, how are you?" She goes, "Oh, Daniel, nice. How are you?" He goes, "Well, Daniel, meet Lou Reed. Lou, this is Daniel Chavis from the Veldt." I said, "Lou, nice to make your acquaintance." I said, "I just drew a book of Satellite Love for my daughter." He was like, "Oh, I would love to see it." He was very nice.
Wow.
Because he came into the shop and he was doing Tai Chi. You know, he came in with his teacher or whatever, and he would wear the clothes from our shop. So that's my only Lou Reed story. So.
Well, that's a Lou Reed story.
Yeah.
Most people don't have one.
Well, if I can ask, and I'm really curious, we never really get to talk.
Yeah.
So it was hard. It was hard for you, like that, growing up here in town. I get that a lot when I'm in pub. People go, "Oh, you look very nice," and I'm very humble. I don't be like, "Well, yes, of course," but because I'm just wearing my normal clothes.
Right.
I don't have T-shirts and jeans like that. I just don't.
Yeah.
You know,
I do that when I mow the lawn.
Well, yeah. And even then, it's a cool T-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But my gear is, at home. I've always wanted to have the wardrobe of, say, like the guy from the Mamas and the Papas, Danny Daughtry.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the singers.
Oh,
or
yeah, I know. John. What's his
John,
name?
the singer guy. What's his name?
John Phillips.
The real dastardly dude.
Right.
I copied all of his style. Either that or Neil Young, Arthur Lee, or of course Jimi Hendrix. Of course.
Yeah.
Kind of a hip. So I kind of laid back into more of a hippie-ish type of aesthetic. But that being said, is that when I'm walking around town, it's easy to stand out because they just
because it's Raleigh.
Well, yeah. Well, there's not a lot of style walking around.
Yeah.
I love Raleigh, but it's just not that place.
Yeah.
And when I'm in New York,
right,
it's kind of different.
You can be a little more.
Yeah. But I still get it in New York too.
Yeah.
Because you have to be brave to be who you are.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Well, yeah. I don't get to wear my platforms when I'm in New York because I walk so much, and these things are like.
They're awesome.
But thanks. But yeah, mainly here, I'll get compliments. But the cool thing about compliments for me now is that you can sort of figure out what's in style, because bell bottoms, which I've been wearing for God, it's like 20-something years now. People will come up in the last few years, I really like your bell bottoms, and it's like, oh, they're back.
They're back.
Yeah, or big sunglasses for a while.
Well, for chicks, yeah.
Yeah, and it is usually chicks. I don't know.
I mean, they're not gonna there are no dudes around gonna be doing all that.
You complimented me on what I was wearing when I first
all
met
the time I saw it. This motherfucker's off the chain.
Yeah.
We talk about you all the time. Now her shop's closed down.
Who's this?
Well, our tailor shop.
Oh, right, yeah.
So when the pandemic hit, I was richer than God, but I mean, I had a lot, not really disposable income. I saved my money to pay rent, but I got a lot of things, a lot of gear that I needed to have fixed. Because I got fat during the pandemic, and I had to kind of get it bigger. And now I'm having her make them smaller again.
Oh yeah, so she's still working out of her house, right?
Yeah.
What's her name? I can't think of her name right now. I know.
I don't remember.
I know her husband's name's Chet because I thought about Chet Baker.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember. He said I don't remember her name. Jeez, how stupid. But anyway, she does really, really good work.
Yeah.
I can't think of a person that she goes. You and one other person are the only people that give me this type of material to work with. And I was like, we said, yes, right. We talked about it, But
nice.
As far as sticking out like a sore thumb, it's an everyday thing for me here, Rob.
Yeah, well, I think people appreciate it. They seem to appreciate it more now than they have. But it's good. I'm really glad that people are coming around.
Yeah.
You're a trendsetter, so when you do that, you have to be bold, and you probably take some flack,
Well, the thing is, innately, we've always been that way. It's not to me, and I know it's not about trends. They call it a trend. We just being who we are.
I was when I was like 3 years old, this kid said to me, "Why do you have a bathing suit on under your shorts?"
Bathing suit?
Yeah. And I was like, well, because you never know. and I didn't think about that. But my concept, I do remember, was that if there was a pool or a lake or something, and I grew up in a neighborhood you could run around everywhere and run off into the woods and stuff.
Back then, yeah.
And so if there was a place where you could swim, I was swimming. And I had this kid came up to me one day and he goes, "Hey, check it out!" And he he said, "I'm wearing a bathing suit," and I was like, "Yeah." And I thought about that so many years later. I kind of did. I was 3.
That's great.
Yeah. So that was.
Well, I gotta say something. I'm really overwhelmed by coming to this place because it is not only do we look like we live.
Right.
Pretty much.
I think Captain Kirk said a room should reflect its occupant, and I remember him saying that. And I was like, yeah.
Wow.
I can't tell you the episode. I'm not that much of a Trekkie, but I did have a Captain Kirk T-shirt when I was a kid because they had them in, what do you call it? The not reruns or the
syndication.
Syndication. Thank you.
Have you always lived here?
I grew up in Greensboro,
in this house.
In this house. I lived in Ruby Red for a while. Do you know what that is? There's the Ruby Deluxe now. Originally, there was a thing called Ruby Red, which was called an artist sharing community. Roger had a place.
Wait a minute, where is
place
that?
there? It's on West Street. It's there's a place called the Cardinal. There was the Glam Lounge. Perfectly. There was a place called the Glam Lounge where you could get your hair and your nails done, and then right next to it was the Ruby Red. It's an old warehouse that people could like. I had a Rooster for the Masses rehearsed next to me, and my friend.
That's not over
Craig
near
Hilton.
off of Glenwood Avenue, is it?
If you're on Peace Street, you know where the there's the cycle shop there.
Yeah, Fike Barbershop, Bike Shop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right
Up
there
that
on the
street?
corner. It's up, yeah. It goes
So
up.
it was down. And was it that house that was down to the right hand side?
To the right
And
hand
they
side,
closed
and
it?
it goes all the way down. Yeah,
Yeah, and they closed it.
They came in and said, "Hey, there's this thing burned down in San Francisco where it was a warehouse, and it was the same thing where there was lots of people living there." And I saw pictures of it, and they were like, "You know, this looks similar to that place." And the guy who was running it, Tim Lemuel, said, you know, he was unfortunately or fortunately, he was completely forthright with them and said, "That's what I modeled this place after."
Wow.
And they had people come in there and like he had to redo it so many times because of codes for this and codes for that. He had a film studio in there, and he had to cut the tops off the walls so it wouldn't be like rooms. It would just be like little partitions.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So you were living there too?
Yeah, it wasn't street legal. You're not supposed to.
No, I got you. Yeah,
it's not zoned for residential
Yeah.
living. So I would have to I had a bunch of recording equipment, and I would just get the bed and like set it up on the side and make it look more like a studio in there if they had people
awesome.
come and look at it. Yeah.
I miss that underbelly of Raleigh that used to have. Like, Raleigh was a lot cooler when it was like younger.
Yeah.
I'd say I remember like the late '70s, early '80s. It was like it was more interesting little things like that, like mom and pop stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really remember. I remember. Well, back when Hillsborough Street was popping. All the punk rockers went. That's where COC hung out. Ugly Americans.
Right.
All those guys hung out around the area where the brewery was.
Right.
There was more little nuances of bands that were doing things. People that were artists living around that area, like doing things like you did back then.
Yeah, I was in Greensboro. I went to UNCG.
Okay.
But I only came through. I think we played the brewery one time, and I played at Cat's Cradle a couple times. Played, but I didn't spend a lot of time in Raleigh. There's a cool movie though called Bandwagon. Do you remember when they were shooting that in the mid-90s?
With Doug and the Connells in there.
I know that Jack Kane was in it because he played a bouncer at the brewery, and there was a scene where they were in the brewery. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Doug was in it. Some of the Connells were in it. Yeah.
Okay.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raleigh had a kind of je ne sais quoi back then. I can't really put my finger on it.
Yeah.
And like those films with the bands in it and everybody's now it's kind of, would you think it's kind of different nowadays?
Well, I can say that it's I moved here in 2006, and so I missed all that. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for about 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Into mid to late 90s and the early 2000s. So, and that was a fun town back then too.
Yeah, I believe it.
But they said that Nashville, like by around 2000, like 100 people were moving there a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Raleigh. It's kind of like Raleigh, actually.
Right. And they said, I heard a statistic that said something about between 60 and 80 people were moving here every day for, this was a couple of years back.
Raleigh or Nashville?
Raleigh.
Yeah, it's true.
Nashville has quadrupled, tripled in the population since the early 2000s. So I don't know what's going to happen with Raleigh, but everybody says that, hello?
We're kind of being priced out, to be honest.
Right.
I would kill for a place like this.
Well, I actually live down the street. Just close. Hold up. Sorry. We've got a telemarketer that's live. Hey, we're taping a television show, so thanks for coming by, though. That's all right. You'll be famous. You want to interview that guy? We should both go at him. I think he's a Spectrum guy or something.
Oh no, because I owe him money.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I don't have that. Do you do that? Do you have like what do you call it?
Cable or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had it during COVID.
Right. Right.
Anything else to do?
I'm a DVD guy myself.
I saw that.
Oh, did you see my closet in the kitchen?
And my mind went, oh, DVDs. Okay.
DVDs. It's the latest.
But let me tell you about La Planète Sauvage. I saw it because you know what's up, dude. You when I saw that, I saw La Planète Sauvage when it first came out. Tell my age. And I was in elementary school, and my mom was doing something. She said, "Oh, your uncle's gonna come pick you up at school to take you to a movie." I said, "Okay, great." So we thought we were gonna go see a kids film.
Right.
It scared the shit out of me.
I bet it did.
And I've never forgotten it.
That's a freaky movie.
Yeah. Now my uncle's a Baptist minister. He don't remember anything about it. He doesn't remember anything.
Did I really endorse that?
He goes, "Oh, really?"
Outing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So tell me a little bit about the show. What's going on?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. You're doing a better job at interviewing than I am. This is my first interview. But no, this is great. If it's this easy, then I'm happy. I'm the guy for this. I interviewed myself, and this was done from Roger Flake's Technical Wizardry.
I love that.
Yeah. So we were trying to think of a name, and the first thing I did is I used this, and I just wanted to tell everybody that we taped the first one, and I just wrote, "That's a wrap," because that's what you say. You go, "That's a wrap" when you finish doing the thing, and so we're going to use that, and then I came up with something that was more controversial.
What are you going to call it?
Public execution. Because I was watching I was watching this movie that was on like the French Revolution, and it was like Goya. It was about the artist Goya, and but I mean I don't want to like turn anybody away, which is crazy. Because back in the days, like anything you could do to whatever incite somebody, you would do it.
Yeah. Now you got to be walking on eggshells. So.
Kind of, but I mean I think that the intention in that is really good. It's just.
So are you gonna be interviewing more people? Or?
Oh yeah. In fact, I sent out some invitations, and I've got, Brent Wilson, the actor.
Yeah. Why do I know his name?
Oh, you know him. He's like us, man. The three of us should go out.
You mean tall Brent?
Well, he's got the shoes.
Silver haired Brent.
Yes.
Brent's awesome.
Yeah.
He is actually. Who else? Okay, I can think of a couple of people. Me, you, Brent.
Right.
I mean, chicks do, but they do it unconsciously, so they don't do it intentionally with the fact of going out trying to look like it.
It's not as audacious.
No.
To wear necklaces and rings.
Who else do we know? There's a couple of brothers I knew. Like, there's Jamil, who works at.
I'm gonna have to get all this stuff down because I need to interview as many. I've got a list.
Dude, yeah, I definitely do that because you need to meet. And this guy named Micah Gaw, he's a avant pop guy.
Well, I'll show you the list. You're like, hey, you're interviewing me and you're on your phone. No, I have the list on here. So this is who I've got.
Scott Williams. Hell yeah. Paul Silent. Yeah. I want to buy some of his bell bottoms from
Father and Son.
Yeah. He got rid of some of them.
Yeah, I got him too.
Chip Robinson.
Right.
Chip the T-shirt dude.
That was just I don't know who that is.
Chip does our merch, and he does it for a lot of bands. So he might be cool to talk to too.
We've got
Brian. I just talked to him.
Yeah. I've got
Greg Elkins. I know him too. John Howie Sr.
Oh yeah, it's Junior actually.
Oh,
Junior. Yeah, he got back to me. Ocean DeMarco got back to me. Ludi Kane got back to me. Reese McHenry from.
Reese just had a bout.
Yeah.
With cancer, and now she's doing. She's actually playing back here. She's playing hopscotch.
Oh, killer!
Yeah, she's awesome. I know one guy. You should do. He's in a kind of a country band.
Cool.
I can't remember because I just ate a gummy and my mind's kind of blanking out. He's really stylish.
You just ate a gummy and your mind's blanking out?
Yeah.
You really lit. I thought you were making up a saying.
No, I'm not.
Like, did I get a little cuckoo franolali on you?
See,
you ever say that?
He knows kukla franolali.
How is it? Kukla?
Kukla franolali.
Kukla.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, how do you see? Never really.
It's like I don't want to like get like all Kukla, Fran, and Ollie on you, but when I looked at you, I could see your aura is just huge.
I'll send you his link. He's a country artist.
Yeah, hook me up because I've got about 20 people on here, but you know.
Okay, so you were saying you started this show. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, this is Roger's idea, and Roger's like, man, whenever you start talking, you just get on this thing and this. You would be a good interviewist. And I was like, cool. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And I've worked with Roger before. He did the. Did you see the video he did for the Space Cadet?
Yeah, you sent me that before. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surfing in outer space. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. I'm surfing on a guitar in outer space.
Makes sense to me.
And so right. And it's that guitar right there that's in the corner in there. I mean, that one looks like it was born in outer space anyway. I mean, it's made of stardust. So
Robin has one like that. You know Cocktail Twins, right?
Yeah.
Plays the same kind of guitar in the video "Crushed" from Lonely as an Eyesore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote a song called Eyesore.
No way.
Yeah.
So are you going to be continuing playing? Or?
That's the $1 zillion question, my friend.
You can't let all this go to waste.
At some point, I think if there's an audience out there, I'd love writing songs. It just, do you write songs? Do you like write one on the way from the car to the house and like?
You know what's really strange? Whenever I eat gummies or whatever, I just start going in and just writing mad tracks. Mm-hmm. You know, not that I couldn't do without it, but when I'm doing something I hate, like, you know, I'm working or something, like my job or something, I used to come up with things. I gotta write them down.
Oh, I know.
You know?
Yeah.
That's when I'm my most creative.
That's exactly what I worked at Cup of Joe. I don't know, because you're active and you're probably on point in a way that you're stimulated in such a way, but then also you have all this extra. So if you're I was working at a coffee shop, and after a while everything was automatic, and I had a dance routine that had to do with making an Ice King Mocha 4.
Cool.
And so you're kind of on automatic pilot, you're stimulated, but your brain has all this extra space. And I got to where I would write so many songs and then go from work to the rehearsal space and pick out. I'd already have the chords. Like I got to where that's a C, that's going to the minor 4. Mm-hmm. I got pretty good at doing that too. But yeah, I came up with I saw hippie, you're a nice song. I saw hippie, you're a nice song. Awesome. Came up with that. I came up with By Curious. I came up with Garbage à Trois.
I mean, you're not going to play out?
I'm going to play Garbage à Trois on the 19th. I plug myself. You should be plugging yourself, but since you're interviewing me here.
Oh no, you just kind of flipped it. And I walked in the house and there you were. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know. I already knew you were going to be here, so I already had like, oh, this is going to be so cool.
It is awesome. Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
See, here we go again.
Well, I mean, cause I've always seen you walking in the grocery. We didn't really stop and talk.
I know.
Now, this motherfucker was cool as shit.
I'm shy you intimidated me with your...
Oh, please. We're walking in Harris Teeter. How intimidated could we be on buying, like, toilet paper or...
I don't know.
Like cheap, do you get a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of things, you know, when I'm on the road and, you know, I drink occasionally, you know, and then I found out, you know, when you had a lot of access to drink and that type of thing, I couldn't really function. And also, it was, you know, when you gain weight, when you do a lot of extra stuff like that, you can't wear cool shit. Because you become bloated and shit. So I had to kind of level off on that a little bit, you know, in terms of drinking and things like that. I mean,
that's how did you quit drinking? My clothes. That's the same thing I did, man. And somebody asked me, they said, well, how do you stay so thin? I said, I do it because my clothes don't look as good unless it's like this. And so I did it all for the fashion of it.
Yeah, I have this shit hanging over my belly when I'm playing a guitar.
For the love of fashion.
Yeah, and that 32-inch waist.
Yeah.
So I can't believe when I walk it. Because, you know, a lot of vintage, people, it's strange, they were skinnier a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe. It's funny though. If you think about the '70s, it's like I'll have the cheese platter.
Yeah, well, in the '60s too. Well, it was so different. I don't remember.
They did a lot of drugs. The '70s, you can think about cocaine. They just didn't know that drugs, you know, had the consequences back then. So they would do a lot. Morrison apparently, you know, he was a little bit portlier when he was in film school at UCLA, but then he ended up living on this rooftop. And all he did was, you know, smoke pot and do acid, And I don't know. I've done acid a few times. I drank a lot while I was on acid, but I couldn't, for the life of me, like want to eat anything. It would have been like weird.
Yeah, I can see it. You know, I was too scared to do any hard. I've always been too scared to do hard stuff because my mom put the fear of God in me, but drugs and shit, right? So we were always. I didn't have my first drink legitimately until I was 25.
Wow.
And that was with Robin in England. He thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen.
With Robin Sander?
Robin Guthrie.
Who's that?
From Copter Twins.
Oh wow! So did you guys tour with them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the first time he produced our record, and that was in England, the one that never came out. You know, so we're getting ready to put that out on our own label called 5BC. It's
5BC.
It's kind of like it's about 480. We want to kind of create the aesthetic and the movement with bands that were kind of like around the time. You know, 40s kind of changed them more like Americana. It's very pop now.
Okay.
You know, and when I talk about things like that, I try to be objective and not say, well, they were better back then. Because, you know, a kid that's coming in there who gets accustomed to it the way they are, he's going to like it.
Yeah, it's all relative to your experience.
Yeah. I really try to, nowadays, I really try to not say things like, oh, that sucks. Because, you know, someone else will like it. People don't like my band. They think, oh, well, you know, everybody's really brave online, you know.
Right.
So they say a lot of shit about my band. Like, for example, we did a copy of the Spaceman 3 logo. Right, but I turned it upside down, and I put an Afro pick in it with a skull, our logo. So the guy goes,
cool.
"Oh, you couldn't even make up your own thing," and instead of getting mad, like my brother loves Facebook arguments. Like I can't stand it. I said, "No, they're friends of ours, you know," and actually one of the members says they think it's cool.
Right.
So you don't get mad at that. As a matter of fact, why don't you come down to the club? You know, I'll buy you a drink.
Nice.
Not like shut fuck you motherfucker. Blah, blah, blah. That's my brother. He likes that shit. You know, I can't deal with all that shit.
Yeah, I can't get fired up over stuff like that. There's just it's always been a thing that you could choose to or choose not to, and now it seems like there's just so many more opportunities for those sort of exchanges to happen.
I agree.
But you know the thing that your logo. I mean, people who make criticisms of things like that, in my experience, are people who've never created anything, and they don't understand the nature of creation is to take things. You find something at a certain place, and then what you do with it is you take it with you, and then you take it past wherever it was, and you do your own thing with it. And so there's no way you're going to create anything new. The person that said that looked like Spaceman 3, Spaceman 3 probably got it from something else, and they might have been criticized of the same thing at some point, and then they're only going to choose like something that they've seen before in their own experience to be able to compare it to. Exactly. Somebody else may compare both of those logos to something that they've seen before, and you'd be like, oh, I've never seen that. And they'll be like, how can you have never seen that if you created this? Right. And it's like, because I create things, and that's how it works.
I agree. And the thing about it is, it's like, unless you're coming from a creative, since my day they're not going to understand it. Right. So if you get angry at them, you can't. I don't want to use the word wrong. You can't educate them or teach them something new.
Right.
You know, so I try not to get really angry a lot because some of them are young people, and there are a lot of young people nowadays that are discovering our band who actually kind of like us. I'm a little surprised myself.
Do you think that your band is like a genre or a period that it relates to?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you guys have been together since when?
I started to check this out. When I was in junior high school, I started a band called the Psycho Daisies.
Wow. No, that's killer.
Yeah. Our first gig was opening for Commercial Conformity.
Oh, wow.
So it was me, I was on bass, my brother was on guitar, and my friend Robert, may rest in peace, was a keyboard player. And we did like several gigs. 2 of the gigs were for a bunch of French kids that were like exchange students.
Oh.
They loved it. They were the first people to really love it. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be friends. Blah, blah, blah.
So you guys had a je ne sais quoi.
Exactly. So we my Led Zeppelin thing goes back as far as just like yours. So I was always trying to get pictures of the Yardbirds during their final tour because that's when Jimmy Page joined. They were really cool.
Oh yeah.
You know, they were like real psychedelic, and you could see Led Zeppelin was coming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I look at the
yeah.
artwork, I go, oh, it's basically Led Zeppelin, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's going to be Tony.
it's amazing. And so, yeah, I think we reflect a sound that was called shoegaze. And
right.
I remember that term was in an article in the NME. And it was Moose, who my brother knows, is friends with Lincoln Baum, who was Robin Guthrie's engineer. He was in the band Moose, and so they were talking about a published what is it? Article. No, it was in the NME.
A journalist.
Yeah, was writing about their shoes. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? So they were like always looking down.
Mm-hmm.
So that phrase was a big article in the NME, and it had Lush, Moose, it had
I think of like My Bloody Valentine.
yeah, they were in it, and then there was Boo Radley's, I think, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And then I think
I
also
love them.
Swerve Driver.
Oh yeah.
Who we played with before.
Oh cool. They had the dual guitars.
Oh God, yeah. And then A.R. Kane. They were all, so that was like for one summer, and I never heard it again. So fast forward to 2023, I'm looking at this article, and I said, Danny, you see this article, top 50 shoegaze bands of all time? He goes, yeah. What about it? He goes, we're in there. He goes, why? He goes, we never called ourselves shoegaze.
Right. Well, yeah. That's just like when I was trying to find some clothes online. It says the stuff that I end up getting: 90s, grunge, goth, boho, all these things they combine that says that's what the 90s clothes were like. But in those times, if you combined all those things, then you were kind of rad.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, most people that I knew dressed like grunge because it was the hot thing. And so when I'd go into a club with like a Sex Pistols t-shirt on, people could get that. But the fact that I was wearing velvet pants and platforms with that, they were like, how can you do that? And I'm like, well, just like this.
Nobody was doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing it.
But when you look back on it, they say that it's like saying the shoegaze thing. That term probably became more popular as referring to it as a retro movement than it was in the time that the movement was actually being, spawned.
Well, when the movement was when all those bands were around.
Yeah.
Never heard that term.
You're right.
I remember we first went to England to record with Robin. We went to see Lush. And I had never heard of it before.
I saw them with the Flaming Lips.
Yeah, we opened
in Raleigh.
Yeah. I think I was at that show.
It was at the place was called Magellan's, but it's Disco Rodeo, and now it's
a police station.
Oh, really?
Downtown.
I thought it was the same place that. What's Disco Rodeo called now? It's over, near Costco. What's the big venue? It's still in existence.
Disco Rodeo.
My friend works there. Oh, I should get Jen Verani on here. What's the place called? Do you know what it is?
What's it near?
Huh?
Ritz?
The Ritz, yeah, the Ritz.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It was called Magellan's, and they had this big ship. Was the bar?
What year was that? 98, 99?
91.
Okay.
They just come out with "Hit to Death in the Future." I was a huge Flaming Lips fan.
Wow.
But they were opening up for Lush.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We saw them play. You know where Red Hat is?
Yeah.
Okay, you know where the police station is?
Red
Hat's here.
Last time I was there, I was so drunk I don't remember where it is.
Cool. Well, they what are they called? Deep South used to have a club.
Okay. Yeah.
That building, that brick building right across the street from it. If you're looking at Deep
okay,
South,
yeah.
They played there.
Oh wow! And what was it called?
I don't remember.
Because you were there.
And I was drunk. I was really drunk. But anyway.
If you can remember, then you weren't there.
Exactly.
The fact that you don't remember proves that you were there.
Right. Well, like you said, though, at the time, there was never any mention of any shoegaze or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And when we were in studio every day in 1980, 88, 89 in England, someone new was coming by the studio. One day it was A.R. Kane, Shelley and Orphan one day. Dick Juice came by one day.
I'm gonna have to pick your brain both on people to interview and also on bands that.
Oh man, they were all like these 480 bands. Any Color Box came over. It was like anybody at vinyl, I went back home and was like, why do I need this vinyl? I know these people. It's like they were really cool people.
Yeah.
They weren't like super snooty and they were really down to earth people. But the thing about it is, a lot of them didn't want to play out live. They're like, what's the point? So Danny and I, my brother was like, why don't you guys play? You should come out and play. People we hung out with the most with Wolfgang Press.
Oh, see, now I know them.
Yeah, Wolfgang Press were funny. They were fun to be around, and we had the best time with them. And I remember, you know who Roddy Frame is?
I don't know.
He was in Aztec Camera.
I don't know what that is either.
Aztec Camera was a band, say around '80s. They were kind of like really kind of not new wave, but they were riding the wave of when the Bunnymen had out Do It Clean and all that kind of thing.
Okay, Echo and the Bunnymen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know that one.
And our welcome to England party was in a hotel on Portobello Road. On Portobello Road. Uh-huh. And they rented a hotel room to welcome us to England. Right?
Oh, wow. Well, that's nice.
In that room was Daniel Dax, the Jesus and Mary Chain, Robin Guthrie, what's his name from The Clash? He played guitar. Not Mick.
Joe Strummer, Mick Jones.
Mick Jones.
Yeah.
And we all headed to the place called the Portobello Hotel. Well, Damon Albarn was serving drinks. He was a bartender back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we was.
Did he sing too?
No,
was in there?
He didn't sing. No, but Ian McCulloch was there. It was just fucking ridiculous. All right,
from the Pogues.
Who?
Did you say Ian McCulloch? Who is that?
Ian from Echo and the Bunnymen. He's a singer.
Oh, from the Echo and the Bunnymen.
But I did meet that guy from the Pogues. Actually, I went out with a friend of his girlfriend, and he couldn't remember my name, and he went, "I'm gonna call you hip hop from now. How about that?"
Well, what did you think?
I was too drunk. I said, "Yeah, sure."
Did you like the Pogues?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think those guys drink a little bit too.
I'm surprised they're still alive.
Yeah, I know.
So, but overall, yeah. So during that time, we're from that period. So a lot of young kids probably see us and go, "Oh, well, they were from there." So they really know what the deal is.
Right.
I would hope they would think that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like '90s revival stuff happen, and but it's funny. You said all these people that you met were so nice, and
they were great.
And you don't know what to expect from them. But I met a lot of musicians, especially when I was in Nashville, and it was like that. You expect somebody who's known or this and this to have a little chip on their shoulder or whatever, but you realize that you get along with them must mean that you found your place. You found
how would you know? Because you're looking at yourself from where you are. You can't look at it from the outside. But you're right though. I mean, but you just don't think about it. We kind of took it for granted.
Yeah.
Because we had worked so hard to, like going down to DJ's Book of News or Crapshoot Valley, finding the NME and sounds and the Blitz, that type of thing, and then finally to meet them is like, really?
And they're just people, right? They're just like you, and you get along, and you can have conversations about the same things that you're interested in, and you're like amazed that they're just like that too.
Yeah, like Robin, we don't even talk about music. Sometimes we just talk about the kids, or we talk about what he had for dinner, or he went on a holiday somewhere. We don't even talk. Sometimes we don't talk about music.
So you're still in this guy's Robin Guthrie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that's a new name for me too, but I'll have to.
Well, he's got it out. Robin, after Cactus Twins split, Robin started doing solo stuff. Uh-huh. Now recently, he's just started doing some new stuff with a Chinese vocalist, Chinese vocalist dude, and it just came out. It's really good.
All right, well, I'll have to look into that too. What's next for you guys? You're on tour right now, right? Are you getting ready? Or
we've never really been on a national tour. We've always been lucky to open up for everybody. Roger, you know that. Roger went us when we opened up for the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Oh, wow. Oh, was that just recently when they came?
No, I was there. That night.
Okay.
In between, Anton kept playing because he had this new, I think it's amplifier set up, and he was playing a new 12 string. He come on, between songs, he'd go, "Yeah, man, and listen to it. It sounds like this." It was packed. I'm thinking, well,
you're getting like a solo performance right there.
And the thing about it is, when we went to the show at the Cradle, he's sitting in front of the tour bus in a recline, like a chair you have on the beach, and he had on these striped pants and a striped shirt. I go, "What are you wearing?" He goes, "Oh, it's my pajamas." He goes, "Man, I'm at work." He had all these striped pants.
Yeah.
Anton's the best. So we've always opened up for bands.
And you opened up for the Pixies?
Yeah.
That's historic.
Yeah. Recently, we went on the tour with Brian Jones. They took us up in the Midwest and everything, you know. And they asked us to come to Europe. We went over there to Europe to play. So.
Oh, wow. That's
Anton really looked out for us.
Oh,
you know?
Good.
And think about it. That DIY aesthetic is what I really admire about Anton. You know, just keep putting out records. He just puts out shit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was amazed at how they have like 36 albums or something.
Yeah. So these men, I give it away.
Right.
So we talked about doing some stuff together with Anton.
Wow.
But right now, yeah, we're getting ready to go on the tour. It's our first national tour by ourselves. And
you should film it. You should get Roger to go on tour with you and film it.
Yeah, that'll be hot.
Oh.
We're actually going to be doing that. It kicks off in New York.
And that's starting when? August
18th. And we're going to have a new record, a full-length record out. We just did several things. We released a single called Check Out Your Mind. It's a Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions cover. And it's out on a label called Little Cloud Records. Little Cloud Records is a label out of Portland. And the owner we met while playing Levitation in Austin.
Huh.
We met this guy and another friend of his, and we all got an Airbnb together. And we sat around drinking, hanging out, going to shows. Fucking Slow Dive played.
Oh, yeah.
And fucking,
that's shoegaze.
The Brian Jonestown played. Yeah. And we were hanging with them and just had a great time. And we realized this guy, Mike Nesbitt, had a label. So 6 years in the making, we just said, let's do it. So he was like, yeah, I'll put out your record. So we got a really good thing going on.
Wow.
He's awesome.
That's really cool. So yeah, it's we were talking about meeting people before. It's like you end up meeting the same people again and again because you're working in the same industry, and there's only so many places that you can meet up at. If you're meeting at South by Southwest, or places like that. Either you're going to meet other people in other bands, or you're going to meet people that are in the industry as far as record companies. Or
Well, I love meeting people. I love creating new relationships. Like we just met and everything.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of blown away, but so.
Yeah. You should hang out. We're going to pop some popcorn. We're going to watch a movie on Graham Parsons later. I don't know if you're into...
Graham Parsons, really?
Yeah.
Have you seen those pictures of him in the desert with the Rolling Stones? They're all hanging out wearing like these Mexican
the nudie suits? Or
no, they weren't nudie suits.
Uh-huh.
They were like tapestries. Not tapestries, but the Mexican ponchos.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
He was hanging out with Keith Richards and them in the desert. And they were all hang out with the guy that sang Here Comes the Sun. What's his name? Tall black dude. What's acoustic? You don't talk. He opened up Woodstock.
Is it a? See, now if you hadn't asked me and put me on the spot, I know was your intention. No, it's is it Bill Withers?
Not Bill Withers, but along the same line. But anyway, it'll come to me. But anyway, but yeah, there's always something really intriguing about reading about his story, because isn't he somehow tied in with the Buffalo Springfield? The Flying Burrito Brothers.
Yeah.
So there's Buffalo Springfield and these old splinter bands.
Well,
Poco, Flying Burrito Brothers, right?
Well, he was in the Byrds, and
right.
He replaced David Crosby, and also kind of stole his girlfriend.
Who did?
Graham Parsons stole David Crosby's girlfriend and had a kid with him. Yeah, I know.
I don't get that.
David Crosby had so many girlfriends. He was
the shit.
Something else. I heard something about him wearing a leather cape in L.A., and I was like,
my brother has one like that.
Does he?
Yeah.
That explains it.
Yeah.
If you wear a cape, then I think you might appreciate this.
You got a cape too?
Yes. If their aliens came down and they were amongst people of Earth,
which I believe in,
which I do believe in too. That's one of the questions that I had written down, but we didn't need the cards for Daniel. They've just been sitting over here soaking into the couch. But it may be years before an alien living on Earth would see somebody in a cape, and when they did, they're bound to go, "Wow, a cape!" And they were like, Who is that wearing that cape?
Right.
It's the person that gets to wear a cape. The person who, it's a special person. And they're like, no, that's just a guy wearing a cape. And then the alien would be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Anybody can wear a cape, but they don't?
Yeah.
And people would be like, give them that sad news. And then the alien would go, we thought you were the ones, but obviously. And they just disappear.
Well,
like, we didn't choose the capes, and they didn't choose us because of it.
Well, somebody better come and save this motherfucker because the way it's going down.
We should start wearing. Let's go. Okay, we got to get together at some point and go out and do something and wear capes. How about that?
Okay, you can cut this off for a second. Okay, let me ask you a question though. I've really been getting into a lot of Moroccan or Afghanistani or Ukrainian kind of clothing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say music, but...
Well, that too. Which I'm going to make up too. So I have a lot of, maybe 3 or 4 Moroccan capes. Yeah, but...
Have you heard the master musicians of Jijoko or Jijoko?
No, yes, I have.
Yeah.
You have that?
I used to have it on CD, but I don't have it anymore. But I listen to it quite a bit.
Do you have it now?
No, I don't even have a CD player anymore.
Damn it! Maybe you got some great background music.
Or that would be. You're right.
But
get it on
no,
vinyl.
I saw it on. Listen to it on YouTube. You mean when Brian Jones went to record?
Yeah, Brian Jones himself went to record that.
Another guy whose style I completely try to copy.
I have one of his suits.
Which one?
I'll send you. It's the
pinstripe.
It's pinstripes. It's black and red and white.
You mean the one where he's got his legs crossed and he's playing the dulcimer like that?
There's a picture of him wearing that in this place called Adam Retro online.
Yes.
You know that place?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I don't assume anything. I was going to send you that, but yeah, I have those pants and the coat, which is a double-breasted.
With the high collar?
No, but I do have at least one coat like that.
The Regency thing, right?
You're right, yeah. The Madcap clothing.
They don't have them anymore.
They don't?
No. All sold out.
Again, the other reason why the aliens are flying away.
That's right. Yeah, all sold out. Okay, so let me ask you this question. I have a hard time. I was really into modwear.
Right.
Okay. But for me, it's streamlined. The cuts are really good.
Mm.
But I began to drift away from, the tapered pants going toward bell bottoms, right? There's a point in the 60s where psychedelia was coming in. You could tell it was coming. Slightly belled more, and then completely. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of like drifting away a little bit from kind of modish type of thing. But I only would wear mod suits kind of with a combination of say, for instance, something that would make it still kind of like colorful, like one of those psychedelic neckties or, the pants. I try to combine a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean?
That's exactly where I'm at.
Okay.
That's to me the great period is when they had the mod wear from a few years back, mm-hmm. but they didn't like spiff up the entire outfit with that. It's the combination of a few elements of that combined with something looser like sandals or jeans or bell-bottom jeans, even better.
Totally.
And then they've got, like you said, like a neckerchief that's like,
totally.
got the psychedelic pattern totally. And like a cool coat, but it's worn a lot more just sort of casually. Right?
This dude is great, man. That's fucking great.
I think if you and I had this conversation, there would be people sitting around going like, what the fuck are they talking about? That doesn't make it. But you and I are right on it. And you've said that, and I've said that to so many people, what you just said, that period in there, like between 68 and like, well, it was only the psychedelic era was really short.
It really was. So I would say 66 to
yeah, you're right.
67.
Yeah.
And then in 66, the mod shit was kind of gone, and then went all out the window.
Yeah. And then it got to be like just sort of like people were dressing like Creedence Clearwater Revival and
yeah.
Yeah, but see what you're wearing. That's John Fogerty wouldn't have been bold enough to wear that shirt. Man.
You don't think so? Look at some of his videos.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
now I love Creedence, so I mean,
I was just telling somebody, but they're still mad at each other. Why? Get over it.
I know they need to get back together. Are they still? Aren't they all still alive?
They're all still alive.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd's doing the same thing. They don't do the same thing. They're still arguing. Who cares? My brother's an asshole. I don't give a fuck about what he says.
Yeah. Well, you guys get along, though, don't you? Maybe I shouldn't ask that. You and your brother?
Oh yeah, whatever. Yeah. He's a guitar player.
Oh, I know. I saw. Yeah, I liked what he was doing. You guys have the 2 guitars too, so that was.
Well, we have. Well, in our band we have like maybe four guitars, right? And this is why.
Was it 3 when I saw you? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
At 506, you had 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I play sometimes, but my guitar is more droning. Because I'm not very dexterous. So I don't have I can't concentrate. So some of the songs I'm doing a lot of like.
Right. Yeah.
So mine is not very significant. My brother, however, he's the one that's all that bullshit you hear.
Right.
Him, that's my brother's guitar. That's Martin Newman. He's a guitar player. Then Hayato, he's the foreign dude, the Japanese dude.
Right.
He plays guitar. And then there's me. So there's 4.
Oh wow.
And sometimes when it's really fucked up, we add another guy.
Well, the drone thing, what you do is like, I know you've listened to Ravi Shankar.
Of course.
Well, on DMT maybe.
No, but remind me about that later on. Remind me about that.
It speaks, man. It
Really?
speaks. It's like a language that the musical notes are like having a conversation in a way that that music does that, but it's almost like you're watching 2 creatures talk.
Wow.
It's a lot more of an actual communicative thing that's happening. That's not just those guitars are harmonizing together.
Wow, I know that.
It's like
I know now.
you can look into it.
That sounds awesome.
It is.
Now, what questions did you have?
Okay. So yeah.
Let's check them out.
This was okay. How about this? What superhero did you become at age 3?
I don't remember. I probably didn't remember.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I just probably was wondering why is this other motherfucker looking like me?
Oh, really?
Yeah. My brother.
Oh, okay. So you guys were a duo.
Yeah. He was always around, unfortunately.
Yeah. I had I had an older sister. I know you guys are twins. So.
She cool?
Yeah, she was my hero. She knew where the cookies were. She would always get me though. I would always be the one who got caught. She had the caper. Mm-hmm. I was her. What did the Joker had? I was the henchman.
Yeah.
So, but I was always the one caught with the smoking gun. This one is: how many of your past lives can you remember in explicit detail?
I don't know, but what's really funny? You know how when you go somewhere, you think you've been there before? Mm-hmm. I keep reading things about, that's because, you did something in another lifetime or something like that. That's happened a couple of times. Or I have these vivid dreams of like a smell. It's very strange. Like have you ever smelled a dream before?
Wow. Are you sure you didn't do DMT?
No, I want to do.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. The smell is supposed to be one of the most, like, as far as taking you back to a place or a time. The smells are supposed to be.
What about you?
I can remember when I was burning incense in my room in Rocky Mount, and it was before I even had incense. I was burning cloves. And I actually had cloves in a little spice can, and I was pouring it in an ashtray and burning it, which was essentially, as far as past lives go, I actually did a regression thing.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was amazing. It was like I was watching a movie on the wall, and I was a farmer. I looked like my Aunt Go-Go. I just remember standing out there. I remember I had little glasses on, and I remember I had a hat, and I had the sense that I was there. And I remember I had whoever my friend was that was like my main person, and we worked together, and we were like looking out. I like to say we were surveying, but we were probably going, oh no, no, not this shit again. Yeah, I don't know. But I had a sense of being there, definitely.
Well, I've been listening a lot to this guy named Sadhguru.
Okay.
And he talks about, reincarnation and past lives. He says it takes 48 hours for the body to be reborn again. But if you kill yourself or die by some other method or whatever, you can't be reborn. Strange that, you know. But as I get older, and we talk about these sounds of the music, like these tones, some of them like really touch me in some places. And you know, a lot of Indian music, there are these, you know, you have these things you rub, because like a sound, like these bowls they rub.
Oh yeah, I've got one of those.
Right. A lot of
singing bowl.
Yeah. Well, sometimes in the drone we have, there's something that kind of touches me like that.
Right.
And it makes me kind of sad, because it's kind of a lot of our music is very mournful, because we're talking about loss a lot. I mean, a lot of the things I'm singing about are, you know, I'm really bad at picking relationships with, you know, with women. So
yeah, me too.
So there you go. And I'm singing about that and taking responsibility for not abandoning myself for other people. I'm never gonna do that again. So a lot of it, what I'm singing is a lot of good therapy. You know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have probably had a piece of cold steel in somebody's ribcage a long time ago.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of helped me out a lot.
Well, you know, every time I was making jokes about this actress in this movie, and like every time there's a, you know, every time there's a curtain, there's a death, but every time the spotlight comes, there's a rebirth.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, do you feel like the rebirth in 48 hours that works, that could work while you're still in the same physical realm, like you're not actually being reborn, but you're still alive, so to speak, but you're sort of more metaphorically being reborn?
I think there is a metaphor. I think so, but I think also some of those guys, I was researching it, some of those guys, they talk like this. Like there was one dude, he goes, "You see that child? He's 5. That's me. You see that child? He's 14. That's me. You see that guy? He's 20 years old. That's me." I couldn't really understand it. I kind of got it in the physical way, but as a metaphor, I understand it too as well. It's very interesting though. You know, and that's why I'm talking about the way we live, the way we dress, the music. It's all this is harmony for me. You know, I walked in, I was like, I just automatically at home.
Right. Good.
You know?
Well, you can come over anytime.
I live right around the corner.
Oh yeah, where do you live?
Davey and Bloodworth.
Oh wow. Yeah, I walk past your house all the time. I have to, because I walk around this neighborhood all the time.
Dude, I'm right around the corner. Oh, let's talk about this clothing store over here next to the IGA.
Oh, the boot. Is it called? It's not Boot and Trunk.
That's
Mary Lily's.
Mary Lyles.
Yeah, Mary Lyles. I used to call her Mary Lily's because I can't spell.
I love her.
Yeah. It's Trunk Show is what it's called.
Now, I haven't been in a while. They have some good pieces sometimes.
They do. It's fun. I like looking around in there. I see a lot of stuff that reminds me of like being a kid, like really, you know, retro stuff and vintage stuff. It's like, oh, my sister had this, you know, something like this one.
One thing I do think about places like that here, as far as vintage goes, like we talked about before, a lot of people wear these type of things as a weekend thing. I don't hold it against them, but the market for vintage doesn't seem to be as burgeoning as it would in another city in Raleigh, would you say? It's not a lifestyle for people.
Yeah. Well, some people don't get to dress the way that they want to all the time.
Because they have maybe a regular job or whatever, you know. Yeah. And I work as a caterer. I work in the service industry.
Okay.
So my bosses kind of know that, you know, I'm kind of like whatever out of the box. So
do you want to give them a shout out?
Oh, the Sheraton Hotel.
Okay.
I'll be late tomorrow because I'm going to get drunk. No, the Sheraton's great. And which is another thing I want to talk about. This is a job I've been in for a very long time. I used to always complain about my job. I hated about this and this and that. But one day, I came home and my room, one of my bandmates said, "Why you always complain about your job? Use your job to like work out, lose weight, because I do a lot. I'm a server, I do this and that." So I said, "Fuck, maybe I will." So I began to take my phone, turn on my counter, and try to bust out and sweat all day long. So I use my job to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And they know me enough at my job where, hey, I gotta go on tour. Fine, you know.
Right.
And so that's one of the good things. I don't dress the way I want, but they let me kind of like put on a different vest or something. They don't care. As long as I do the job. So
yeah,
it's always easy to have a job where your boss knows you. He knows what you do, and I'm kind of fortunate.
Yeah, that is fortunate.
And I walk to work.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm very blessed to have that. You know what I mean? Not everybody has that. So when it comes to not being able to do what you want because you have a passion, I think that's kind of crucial.
Yeah. Well, and also what you said before about like having a place where you can clear your mind and do things creative while you're doing a job that's a very practical thing that's paying the bills or whatever.
Oh, one thing I'd like to invite you to as my guest. We just won the Medal of Arts award for the North Carolina Medal of Arts, Gold Medal of Arts.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. And I'd like to thank the Raleigh Arts Council, Billy Warden, Belford Parker, Tess, for nominating my band as for everything we've been doing here in town. I think I saw you right before I created Noir Bazaar, which is our pop-up festival.
Okay.
When I had always wanted to. We were never invited to festivals like Hopscotch,
Right.
or any other significant thing if it wasn't for people like Anton from Brian Jonestown. So I said, to my friend Mike Allen, who used to do the Wake Forest listening room, you just want to put together your own festival? I said, sure.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So I got together with these two young guys, Pierce Clausen. He's in a band called Pretty Hot. Great guy. We got together. He got a lot of the young people that were into psych, and I got my people that were in there. We put together a couple of this date called the North Carolina Festival of Psychedelia, and we did it at Poorhouse. We did it at Wicked Witch, and we did it at King's. All three of those vendors, those guys that own those clubs, gave me a chance to do that. So I'm really happy, really thankful to those clubs for helping me. But I felt like that it was a very limiting, and I wanted to encompass everything, like LGBTQ people, obviously black people that do psychedelia, and I wanted to have it as a vehicle. So I stopped it, and I changed the name to Noir Bazaar. So I wanted to do a kind of a black psychedelic thing, but black creatives and other endeavors, which would include everyone.
Right.
So
well, if black people aren't being included in the other ones, then you got to do what you got to do to include them.
Well,
so that's great.
I wanted to, but I didn't want to be to exclude people, but I wanted to keep it the image of it being a black made thing, right, to show people that there is something different. Good. And we are including everybody. So I got together with my friend Sean Brewster, Bill Johnson, Downtown Raleigh Alliance. They helped me put it on in an event, that kind of not really abandoned, but an empty grocery store underneath Sky House. And we did it. But the thing about it is, I did it with my friend Greg Tate, who was in the band called Burnt Sugar. They're from New York. Now, Greg recently passed. We were getting ready to do a lot of things. So we kept it going on. I've been going up and down the West Coast, getting local bands from every city. Boston, local bands, they're into psych or whatever, that type of thing. And then New York, we've done some. And hopefully, with the Medal of Arts, we can actually try to do another one here in town. Cool. Where you will be playing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can figure out how to do something. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's my point. Okay. I want people to see stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's not an anomaly. It's natural, like passing a gallstone. I don't know how else to make it any easier, but yeah.
It has to happen, right?
Wait. Anything else here? I want to see some of these.
Let's see. What else is the other one? Well, I already have. Are you ready to accept the truth about aliens? And I think that.
Wait a minute. Okay, now. So, all right. I was really disappointed because Neil deGrasse Tyson says he didn't. He goes, "Where is it?" And I admire him so much. Me too. It was such a letdown. But I mean, the United States government came and admitted that UFOs were real, and nobody cared. Right?
Yeah. It's so funny that there's been so much interest in it. Is it real? Is it not? It's such there's so much of a conversation, but it's almost been leaked in so many different ways, and now that people are sort of disregarding it, because they're so tired of the conversation not coming to any like real conclusion, I believe.
Right.
And at this point, look, what you said, the people are just over that conversation. Even if it's finally, it's true. They're there. This is which would be like one of the most historic events of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we searching for constantly? You know, as a species, we're out there trying to figure out where do we come from? Is there anything else out there?
Right.
And we finally figure out that there is, and now we're just sort of like, but that's old, that's passé now.
I tell you why. We had this guy in the White House that took our attention from it. All this racial strife, COVID. Americans don't want to hear about that shit.
Right.
And America's been through a lot. And which brings me to this point. How do you feel about your place in this country with the way things are going? Do you feel safe here?
I mean, yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I just try and sort of focus on the positive things.
I agree.
And just be grateful for the fact that, you know, I can teach music and have students that want to do something and are willing to commit to doing something that's creative, you know, a couple hours a day or 15 minutes here and there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened in the last couple of years that have been crazy. You know, I did have COVID for a while, and I had a lot of things that happened in the last year that were just insane.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really ready to give up on America yet. I mean, against my better judgment, you know, I just feel like I think we should kind of fight in a way. Not fight like physically, but fight to kind of like show people that the basis of this country was supposedly have been this idea that, you know, everybody was, you know, going here and this and that. So, you know, I mean, we could go, oh yeah, I want to move to Europe. You know, it's the same shit everywhere, but probably not as bad.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to have hope, which is why I have hope for young people. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think young people that I've seen are definitely pretty charged toward changing people's attitudes, and you know, you say you have to walk on eggshells. The only reason that I feel like I may be walking on eggshells is just because I've gotten into the habit, because of my generation, of having not necessarily even an attitude about something. It's like maybe you haven't even examined what attitude that your actions are reflecting. You know, like, why have I ever thought about the reason why I think this way or I act this way? What is that saying about me? Is it accurate? Maybe I don't feel that way, but I'm doing something that makes me look like I do, you know? And so I really appreciate how specific things have gotten about the way that you talk about things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But I don't like the fact that we always have to be censored, you know?
Right.
I mean, since within reason, you know, you're not going to go and start like, I can't get into the racial and the sexist things about women and people. I can't get into all that, you know. I think that shit should be monitored. You know, you shouldn't judge people because they want to suck dick or lick pussy. Who cares?
Well,
just love each other. That's my point.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really simple if you think about it. We should all be there for each other as much as we can. And
I agree.
And I think once you get to the point where you realize people don't have to do it. I'm in recovery, and what that entails is me giving away what I've gotten. And once you get to the point, or once I got to the point where I was could see what being a giving person would get me, because I'm still a selfish person in so many ways. I mean, you have to take care of yourself. If I'm not here to do something for somebody else, then I don't have a purpose to help somebody. But just doing something for somebody else without any and just knowing you're not going to get anything back in return. That's a real, that was
that's
a big
really
lesson
unselfish.
for me. Yeah.
And I think, you know, some people can't do that, but it makes me feel good when I do what I feel is something good for someone. And I'm not expecting a payback or anything, but I like to see people happy. Yeah. Because you look at that person and you go, oh, well, someone loves that person. That guy who's on the street sleeping, He has a mom. He has a father. Someone loves him. They raised him, and you have to have maybe sometimes too much compassion. But I think about people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really care a lot about people. But then
Good.
again, well, yeah, it is good. But then again, you have to serve them. Sometimes serving people is horrible.
Right.
In the service industry, it's just the worst sometimes. But you have to have a lot of tolerance for people.
Yeah. Acceptance is what I.
Yeah, I balance my love for people kind of indiscreetly sometimes. But
Yeah.
I do. I have a big love for people, especially cats. I'm very fond of them. I have a lot of stuffed cats in my house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to have them because I'm in low-income housing, so you can't have them in my house. So, and pretty much when I did have a cat, he was good because he didn't scratch my shit up.
Right.
No.
You think one of your cats would have just like gone to town on this velvet couch?
No, the guy I lived with, he was an orange tabby. He never sat on it because he knew I didn't like it. He was a very disciplined cat.
Wow.
He's beautiful.
You appreciated boundaries.
Yeah. How is it to find a cat like that? But yeah, I really adore cats. I mean, I did a lot of two. It's a lot because they haven't done anything recently. For alley cats, they're a no-kill cat shelter, and I did like a performance to help raise money for awareness for that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So now I saw in the Indie Week that they just passed a law that they're not killing cats in these shelters, which is really cool.
See that? I'm surprised that's been a thing. That it's just now that's not a law. But
well, I mean, a lot of people it gets out of hand with spaying them and this type of thing, and
right.
people abandon their animals, so it's kind of fucked up. But luckily, this law is passed in North Carolina, Raleigh, or whatever, in the area, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Now, in your house, a lot of this antique stuff, right? I used to work
thrift stuff.
Well, I mean, no, but listen, a lot. This is a Duncan Fife, right?
This couch.
Mm-hmm.
I know I got it for $125 at a thrift store, and I couldn't believe that it was that affordable for me at the time.
I think it's called Duncan Fife, the type of it.
Is that the style of it? It has little piles on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a Duncan Fife.
Wow.
If not, someone correct me on that. But I used to work in architectural salvage for like 5 years, and most of my stuff is from there. I like Eastlake. My bed is an Eastlake bed. I found it online for like $100. In Brooklyn. They were going to throw it away.
So you know enough about stuff to know that when you have something, what you've got. That's great.
I mean, they don't.
Right. And they don't. And you're like, that's why it costs nothing.
Man, have you ever been to the Goodwill and you walk and you see this amazing thing, you go, I'd like to take this for $20, even though it's between $250.
Yeah.
And they go, you want that one? Yeah, sure.
Right.
How many times have you done that?
Quite a few times.
Oh, dude, around here, it's just, I mean, if you go, I say go to the North Raleigh Goodwill. They sometimes have some jewels with furniture, but I need more furniture. Like I need a hole in the head.
Hey,